Hello again, thanks for joining. Today we've got a Marklin model to look at and it's going to be something a bit special, I think. This is actually a wooden locomotive. No, not anything like that. It's a model of a Swedish locomotive. You can see a diagram of it here on the box, and it's a Litt D109. D for electric locomotive, obviously. This one is number 3170 in the Marklin catalogue, and underneath you can see it says made in West Germany, so it gives a hint of how old this model is. I think it's around about 40 years old, maybe made in around the 1980s sometimes. So it's getting on a little bit, so let's get this open and we'll see what we've got inside. So you saw there as we were getting it out the box that the inner tray had gone a bit yellow. This is something that happens with older Marklin models all the time. The packaging starts to age and gets a bit brittle, and then it just doesn't support the model. Thankfully this one looks intact so far. This is a 3-rail model, and I think this version is the analog version, but they did do a digital version of this. I think it was AC digital actually. So the instruction sheet that came with the model does have 3 different part numbers down here. We've got 3170. 3670 is the AC digital version. I'm not sure what 3030 is. So we do get a bit of history about the model. And up here it's talking about the history of the model in English. It says it's made in 1925, this particular model for the Swedish State Railroad. And it says the first 135 locomotives in this series were built with wooden bodies. And that's what we've got here. Quite an interesting thing to have a look at. So here we have a little indication that we can switch this to pick up from 3-rail or overhead electrics, and how to take the body off. It looks quite simple, just a screw on the top, which is really handy, and here's some lubrication information. And here it looks like we have illumination as well. So at this point in the instruction sheet it does say about 3670 being a digital version, and it says it can be used on digital layouts or conventional layouts, which is quite interesting. And here you can see how you can change the decoder settings as well. So it's quite interesting that this model was made so long ago and yet it still had digital functions including the lighting. And finally here is the model, and what an interesting thing this is. Fantastic looks to it. We'll start off down this end of the model, and this one looks to be in really good condition. The buffer beam here is in red and it's got the number 109 printed on it twice, and it's got these buffers as well. I think they're actually made of metal. And we have a coupling hanging out the front here and little snow plows underneath. They're made in metal and they're painted red. And it's on an articulated little truck here with one of the wheels, which does look really good. It's all metal, got really fine spokes on it as well. And it looks very clean too. You can see that with the other wheels as well, but we'll get onto the underneath in a minute. The rest of the body has this wood effect on it. It does actually feel really good. It's almost got a warm feel to it, but I do think this is just a plastic body. I'm not 100% sure actually, but we'll take this body off and we'll have a look in more detail in a second as well. At the front we've got some windscreen wipers on the windows there, but they don't look very good to be fair. It's just moulded plastic. And we have the 3 light arrangement. These lights down here do look really good in their little surrounds. We've got another little red thing up the top there. Not quite sure what that's meant to represent. And the glazing is almost flush fit, but not quite. Looking down the side we've got 1 or 2 little plates that have been added on as extra pieces with really fine printing on it. That looks really good. The little fine handrails on the front and at the side here are all made of metal and added in extra pieces. We've got rear view mirrors indicated here, but they're just made of plastic and they don't look very good, but you know, at least they're there. And then further down the locomotive we've got an indication of some grills. These are moulded in plastic, but they look not too bad. We've got another window here where we can see inside, but unfortunately we just see a view of the motor in this model. But the number 109 here is really nicely done. However, it does look a little bit off kilter from horizontal. And then further down the model at this end, it's just the same as at the first end. Actually, I didn't point out, it's got some nice rivet detail here in the buffer beam too. Up top, we've actually got a really nice grey texture feel on the roof, and we have this metal going along here to indicate the electrical gear. And we have 2 pantographs as well. They look pretty fine, nicely sprung loaded as well. And they're pretty typical of Marklin pantographs of the time, but they do look really good. And as we saw in the instructions, you can actually pick up from these as well. Somewhat spoiled by the screw at the top there that you can take this model apart with, but at least it makes it handy to open it up and service it. So looking down below, we've got a little set of steps here, which are plastic pieces that have been added in. A little bit of play on those, which is good, but they do look very fragile and they could easily be broken off. We've got a plastic tank here as well, which is another added in piece, which does actually move as well a little bit. And here is the little lever we saw in the instructions to change from 3-rail pickup to overhead pickup. It's actually quite easy to do, very free moving. I don't know if you can see in the video, but there is something moving inside the cab door there as I move this up and down. So it's a very mechanical kind of arrangement it's got. The driving wheels here, they've all got gear wheels on them, you can see it here. So they're all driven, And a feature of this model is this drive shaft here, which connects all the wheels to this part here. So it does look really quite interesting. It's going to look interesting going down the track. But there lies a little bit of a problem because I don't have a 3-rail setup. So we're going to put some power to it and see it moving, hopefully. The 3-rail skid does look as though it's been worn quite a bit. It's got a little bit of tarnishing going on here as well. So this is a model that's been used quite a few times in the past, but you wouldn't know it from the wheel set. It looks very clean. We do have traction tyres at this end here on this axle, but I don't think we really need it. This is quite a heavy model, and I'll put it on the scales in a minute to show you. And at the other end, we have another truck here. It's articulated along with the coupling. So let's put some power to this first and see if it actually works. So really, I'm just going to prod some power onto this from some wires. I'm using my H&M controller on 12 volt DC just to give it some juice. So let's see what happens. So it was kind of offering to go. I did actually see the motor inside the model move a little bit there, and the light came on as well. But the wheels don't seem to want to revolve, so let's take this apart and see what we can do. So with the body off, we can see inside that it is actually made of plastic with the metal handrails coming through here, and we have a two-piece construction. It looks as though it's glued together with the roof part, and then you can see there the connection for the overhead pickup. And we do have lighting at both ends of the model. And with the body off and having a look at the chassis now, we can see this is actually an AC model, not DC as I thought. So I was quite curious why the model actually wanted to go a little bit there. The mechanism is quite crude by today's standards. This is the lever to swap to overhead pickup. And it's just a slider on this little pickup here that goes up to the roof. And we've got the extensive gearbox there. It's all made of metal, which is really impressive. And these parts here where the steps are made of plastic, but otherwise the chassis is all metal as well. I can manually move the gears and the wheels do actually revolve around, so there's nothing actually sticking here. I guess it's just a power source. I'll need an AC setup to use this model, which unfortunately I don't have at the moment. So it does look like a really cool piece of engineering, especially from way back when this was actually produced. So I've just put this model back together to weigh it, and I thought I'd maybe just give it a try with the overhead pickup and see if it would work. But check this out. So maybe it's DC after all and I'm just being stupid, or maybe it switches between the two. I'm really not quite sure. It looked like an AC setup inside, but obviously it works under DC. I guess it just needed the gears freed up when I moved them there manually myself. But it does seem to work from overhead pickup or 3-rail, so that's an absolute bonus. Let's put this on the scales and we'll check out the weight anyway. So this model weighs 377 grams. So this model of the Swedish D109 from Marklin is actually very interesting, I think. It's a very unusual design. The wooden body on this has been rendered really well. It's obviously made of plastic, but it does actually look really realistic. And this has got a lot of lovely additional parts added onto it, like the handrails around the front. The little number plates are really well done, and the pantographs and the wiring on the roof is a really nice touch. Interesting, it can be picking up from 3-rail or overhead catenary. I am still a bit confused about the power source here because I'm pretty sure it's AC and also DC. It doesn't say in the instructions, but certainly it was working under DC with my H&M controller, which is great, and it looks really cool with the wheels going around as well. It did need a lot of power though to get going, so it may still need a little bit of lubrication, or it may just be really low geared and that's how it's meant to run. But the real winner here is the looks. It's an absolutely bonkers looking machine, and it's got bags of character as well. It's something very different and would make a great addition to anybody's collection. It's a real credit to Marklin and how good their models were even back around 40 years ago when this was made, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. I'm believing that that's kind of era of this model. And you know, it is showing its age in some parts. The plastic isn't so good, like the wing mirrors are a bit naff. But there is lots to love about this model, and it is something like nothing else I've seen. So should you add this to your collection? I think probably yes. If you've got a collection of vintage locomotives, this would go really well with that. But if you want all the modern stuff, this isn't for you, obviously. So I hope you like my review of this model. I'll put it on the turntable so you can see all the way around. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this model. And if you click on the link on screen now, you can see another video that I've done. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you on the next one.
So model train, model world, choo choo, model train, in tiny worlds, choo choo, model train, model world, choo choo.